What is going on, guys? We are back with the Residual Earners Podcast, episode 18. I'm Jordan.
I'm Presley.
And today we have a very special guest. He's very special to us. He's got the best teeth in all of Dallas. He's owned a roofing company for 45 years. He is an innovator with Toaster Buddies, just a phenomenal product. It is our pleasure to welcome to the show Mr. Bruce Hollingsworth.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
You left out pawn shop owner.
Oh, pawn shop owner. Yes, pawn shop owner, and also just a phenomenal golf swing as well.
We could leave that out.
Maybe we will post some videos whenever this thing goes live. But, guys, this is the last week that we are doing the Coach's Book giveaway. Each copy, signed copies, and you will get a Zoom with Presley. All you have to do is leave free books below in the comments, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and you will enter to win. And we will get in touch with everybody after this episode airs on the 5 winners. But that is the last week to enter on that, which is always exciting stuff.
You know, I'm looking forward to doing this and actually getting to talk to some people.
I know.
That's going to be kind of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is kind of an unscripted week. We're excited to have Bruce in studio here in Heath, Texas. Had to pull his arm to get him out here, but he is in the flesh.
Hey, do this, Jordo. Kind of tell y'all's relationship before we get Bruce to give his story here.
Bruce is one of my best buds. We play golf together multiple times a week or hang out at the golf club multiple times a week. Whenever I need money, I always go to Bruce and say, hey, let's go play a money game at the course because it's an easy cleanup for me. So we've just become really good friends, really good friends at the golf course, and end up hanging out, most days of the week. You got anything to say on that, Bruce?
I have to do a lot of babysitting.
Yes.
I took Presley's spot
Oh.
during this time. I mean, Jordan, he just his ego gets in the way too much, and he says he takes all my money, but he didn't pay when he loses.
That's how you always stay ahead.
Yeah, if you don't pay.
It's simple math.
If it's all receivables and no payables, that's a pretty good business model.
That's
there,
a good
Jordo.
business model.
The biggest problem is he's heading out of the country, so I'm going to lose one hanger. I had 3 or 4 of my guys this year leaving, so I don't know what I'm going to do with my time. I guess, Presley, you better join Dallas National.
I guess I'll join, and you and I can start hanging out.
Yeah, we'll start hanging. That's just take his membership. Instead of the reverse role, you giving your membership to him, he should give his membership to you.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I think that'd be good.
May look into that. But let's go over, give a little story about you, Bruce, kind of take them from what you've done in the past, how you got going, how you got USA Roofing up and going, kind of give the people a little bit about you.
Ooh. We don't have that much time.
Well, we got
I mean, I've been in roofing 45 years, and you're 34.
Yep.
Presley, do you remember anything about him 34 years ago, except when he was born?
I remember him popping out. Other than that, that's about it. He looked like a sumo wrestler. He weighed like 10 pounds, 8 ounces. And
Oh, poor mama.
oh my gosh, yeah, he was a large baby.
Wow. Okay, well, I got in it 1979, the roofing business, just by accident. We did mainly residential, hailstorm damage stuff. It started in Fort Worth. We did wood shingles mainly, which is very popular, probably the best roof that was built back in the days from ventilation. You didn't have mold because it ventilated itself. Lasted about 30 years, which no product lasts over 30 years today. But our niche was we was buying stuff in boxcar load, and we would have an edge on our competition, and they would be where they was losing back then. Of course, it was a lot cheaper than it is today, but we was gaining 25% margin on them just starting. And well, we worked, like I say, the hailstorms. Fort Worth had a big one. Then 80, we had a big one. 81, we had a big one. We went a couple years, nothing happening. Then Houston had a big hailstorm, and we said, let's go check that market out. Well, that was very good to us. And then we had a hailstorm hit Lubbock, Texas. That was 84. Then 84, Denver got hit. So we moved to open up the office in Denver. I can go on till today, different storms. At one time we had offices in 8 locations across the United States. The problem with that business, we created a lot of monsters. You know, most businesses or relationships, 6 degrees of separation, and ours is probably 2 or 3 companies. And if you start drilling down, it's going to connect to myself, to the Hollingsworth family or the Needham family. And they all started really Lancaster, DeSoto, south of Dallas. That's where most of the guys came from. And we branched off in Florida, so now I finally got to a point that it was just chasing, you know, the money you made, you put back into it because you have, like when COVID, I mean, you're rocking and rolling, then it shuts it down. Well, we're like a builder. You're high and then you're low, and you got. But the thing that we did is learn how to manage the low times, and you just had to sock the money away and wait till the next one. Then we got into the hurricane business in '89 in Charleston, started doing the restoration there, and then we went off to Florida in '92 when Hurricane Andrews, and I bought a company there, and to this day, that's my best market. East Coast, Southwest, and Southeast coast of Florida. But again, that's usually a 5 to 10 year window of opportunity. But I still have Dallas that I always do, and will always do that, and it's been a good business.
Definitely. And I know, you know, we've talked a lot about on this podcast, and I've talked with you about kind of staying ahead of competition. I think your story's very interesting on when you got a plane and the way you learned to get ahead of your competition and how you did, you know, go to these different markets, buy up the product and really create, you know, something special. Can you go over that?
Well, in 1983, we bought a plane. Well, we did it in a stalker exchange. Now, if you don't know what that is, you take another product and you swap it for this, and brand new plane. Didn't have my brother and I, neither one had a pilot license. Well, I went and got a pilot license in 45 days. Then I started flying. Well, so our big deal is knowing when hailstorms hit. Well, you had the National Weather Service that you could get little reports, just vague, but they come in, you know, on the TV or whatever. Well, as I was flying and going through the process, you get weather reports from different locations, and the government reports this every hour on the hour of weather that takes place at that airport. So I called them up. I said, how can I get that information instantly the same time you're putting it out to whatever? He said, well, you got to go to a private provider. And I went to Oklahoma City, found it out, and I was getting, I don't know if it was not a fax, but it was some kind of mechanism. I forget what it was. You put your phone in, and data would come across.
They had cell phones back then?
I don't think we had cell phones. We didn't even have the bag phone yet.
No, you put that phone into a little modem deal.
Yeah, you put it in the modem. So I'd get that data. I'd get that plane and fly to Denver or Lubbock or wherever in the country that I knew was big market for wood shakes. I'd get there, evaluate the damage, and then might buy 50, 100 boxcar shingles, and then by the time the market and other contractors knew about it, even suppliers knew about it, I'd already bought up enough that, again, I had a big advantage over the competition. And so I did that, and I sort of kept it as a secret for just me to use at my own benefit, which I didn't have the vision. I should have locked up that process and got the royalties or something, bought it, because I told one friend. And that one friend, next thing you know, tells this next person, the next person. Well, then all of a sudden my advantage went away. And I look up now, today they have this, they have the deal called Hell Tracks or Hell this, and you get data instantly, and there's subscriptions to it, and people are just, you know, everybody's got it. So I lost my edge.
Definitely. How much longer do you think you could have kept it going if you hadn't told somebody about it?
It probably lasted 3 or 4 years, because nobody, they just didn't know. They couldn't understand. They didn't know how the suppliers didn't know. How do you know it anybody, because shakes were a commodity. That's a different. Now, what did change it is that sort of went away. The shake market, because of fire hazard and the fire department and the oil companies and stuff, they bashed wood shingles. You have a wood shingle fire, boy, it's the beautifulest fire you ever seen. It was spread across the neighborhood. Well, it could spread across the neighborhood. It never did. But what happens, you never had any lives lost with wood shingle fires, because first thing happens, it starts venting out. Flames go up. What killed people was the chemical pneumonia the smoke created on an asphalt shingle, because all the heat stayed in. Where wood shingle, the heat all went up. You had a pretty fire, but you didn't have life loss. But so anyway, wood shingles went away, then asphalt, so I lost that advantage. Well, where I made the next mistake in my life back in '83, I had all the manufacturers, and I could have opened a distributorship, but I said, do I want to sell roofers, really? Well, look forward, I've got friends that sold their companies for hundreds of millions of dollars that I met in '83. And lo and behold, that's another mistake I made in my life. But I survived. I have no complaints. I've held on and have a pretty good life.
So you got the weather before anybody else.
Yep.
And then because owning your own plane, you were on it immediately. And it just gave you that time advantage that by the time everybody else figured it out, you were already deep into it.
I was already into it, yep.
How old were you at that point?
25 years old.
And what kind of plane?
It was a little Dakota, four-place. I could fly.
A single engine.
Yeah, single
knowing
engine.
you, it's single
Well, it was
engine.
single engine. Heck, it was a
Why do you not want?
$80,000 airplane then.
Yeah.
You know,
And why do you not want two engines?
I'm directly dyslexic. I'd flare out the wrong engine if the engine one went out, and we were going to flip. So I didn't even want to take that chance. I always wanted to, but I just wouldn't do it.
Okay, tell me this. Give the folks an idea. Okay, you said Houston was good to you. How many roofs are you putting on in Houston when something like that happens?
Usually, that was about 500 to 700 roofs in a year, which then the contract was probably $8,000 or $9,000 a pop. I mean, I can remember the first storm in Fort Worth was like $2.5 million that we did. Houston was $3.5 million, and the biggest we ever did was in Florida. We had like 4 hurricanes in 18 months. We did like $100 million. Now it's dropped off because I don't have the energy, I don't have the want to, and it just, these guys are too fast and furious. Because now there's 20,000 of us, where there was 200 or 300 over the whole United States. So that's made it a lot tougher. So the business model, you couldn't protect it like a lot of things, because it's just, you taught the guys, you taught the salesmen. And the biggest problem in the industry is there's no license in Texas. There's license in Florida, license in Minnesota, license in Arizona, and we always tried to stay in those markets, but then they got saturated, and Florida's very licensed. And so, it's been good. It has been a good run, but it's taking its toll.
Okay, another quick question before you jump in, Jordo. You said you got into it kind of accidentally. Kind of fill us in on how accidentally you get in the roofing business.
Well, I had a little brother that just went to work for a guy selling. He opened his own company. Basically, he did sell for another guy, and then he said, I'm going to open my own company. And I was working for a printing company, and how I ended up in the printing business, my dad had 5 newspapers as was kids. And when I was in high school, I did photography from the 7th grade through the 8th grade through high school, sports photography for the newspaper. And, a senior in high school, he sold the newspapers. I said, heck, I thought I was going to be a publisher or, some big shot there. And he goes, no, you need to go get a job. So I went to work for the printing company that printed our papers then. And I'd been in there, the only job I ever had in my life. and I'd been working for this company for 5 years, and he'd got me into sales. I was all over production, quality control, all that stuff for years, and the money then was in sales. So I said, okay. I just started a couple of weeks, and then this storm hit Fort Worth. My brother called me up, and he goes, why don't you come and try this? And I had a couple of weeks vacation. So I went over there, worked week, made like $7,000 in 1 week in 1979. I go, whoa. And then I got cold feet. I was married, had a kid. So I go back to the printer, and I walked in. I was supposed to have a suit on, and I knew the guy real well. And he said, Bruce, what are you doing? You don't have a suit? And I go, yeah, I need to talk to you. And I wasn't going to quit, but since he addressed me, and I just got in sales, I came in casual, and he goes, you're supposed to have a suit on. I go, I need to talk. I'll give you 2 weeks' notice. And there it went. That was it. Never looked back.
So it was your younger brother that got you.
Yeah, he got me into it, and he just really got into it. And so what happened? He needed some help because, unfortunately, our family didn't go to college. There's seven of us, my brother and sister, and my dad. There was 8 of them. Every one of them went to college. Why they didn't push us to go to college, I don't know. But we started making a lot of money, and it was just hard to
stop and go to college. And then it was just we just didn't have time. And there we go.
So the pawn shop business, did you happen into the pawn shop business after you got the location? Is that what started the pawn shop business?
Well, really, we started one in Wynwood Village.
So you had that before Ashley's Pawn Shop today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one, we started that, and that was from a little brother's father-in-law. He was in it, and we just thought he was successful and did well, so we started a pawn shop. And, it's fun, but it's a job. Somebody's got to do it.
No, I heard a quote today on the way here that people miss a lot of opportunities that they have in life because they're dressed in overalls and they look like work, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, probably do.
So,
well, yeah, it boils down to there's nothing you're going to jump in and make a lot of money outside, I guess, winning the lottery maybe, but nothing you're going to jump into that doesn't require effort, doesn't require work, doesn't require focus. And when you're the owner of the business, you're married to it for a while. Now, you can get it to where it operates on its own, but when you're starting it up, you've got to be there. You got to be doing it. You got to put in that effort.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's what I always told everybody in that business in the roofing. You have, it's like an upside down cake. Today you have, say, because we from the hell to say today especially, we have data that you see the neighborhoods exactly where it's held and all that stuff. So say there's 50,000 homes that's damaged with hail. We know where it is. Everybody knows now. Well, that upside down, you got 50,000 homes a day. Tomorrow, as many used to, 5 or 6 companies did it. That upside down cake lasts a year. Now that cake is eaten up in 2 weeks, and you can't get on a door because aggressive companies, door knocking, telemarketing, and they're just bombarding these homeowners. And so that's made it tough. And you do have to get out and work hard. The first month in our business is everything. After that sets you to be successful for the year, sometimes 2 years. But you got to put in I don't care what you got to do, the push-ups, or you're not going to make it.
how much time, the 18 months that you did over 100 million, how much time were you putting into the business at that point?
Oh, I didn't.
And what years was that?
That's 2004, 5.
Okay.
And it was 24/7. I mean, it was, and we had 7 offices in Florida, and it's all from hurricanes. We had a lot of people.
What's the biggest team size you've ever had? Contractors, everybody.
We had 100 salesmen at that time, and contractors, because we subbed most of our roofs out and stuff, is probably at least that again.
Yeah. And
it was crazy. All this hair I got now, I don't have now. That's where it went. From Florida, I promise.
Okay, obviously, Bruce, you've been very successful at this. If somebody said, what is the biggest factor in your success? What would you say it is?
Can't wasn't in my vocabulary, and I always I don't there's not, and especially today, but even then, I always researched, looked, studied, whatever it was, and I could always hire somebody I felt that knew it if I didn't. But you gotta, I mean, you're gonna fail. Fortunately, we didn't ever fail. That's something. I mean, we get close, but would always something would happen. But it was just hard work. Wasn't the smartest, wasn't the brightest, because none of us went to college, but we had a lot of common sense and we had good work ethics.
But one of the things you were smart with, which I think for business owners, you know, this is obviously a business podcast. A lot of people are starting up business, new in business. One of the smartest things you did, and we've talked about this a lot, is reinvesting in the business, because your business especially ebbs and flows over other businesses that are a little more constant, but their still revenues are up and down. But you kept investing back into the company, saving that money for a rainy day, not overspending once you started making some money, which kind of go into that and the thought process, because obviously that's what, there's a lot of things that kept you in business for 45 years now, but that's one of the big ones in your line of work that if you don't do, you're done quickly.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem you tell people in the salesman, because it's like an oil well. You got an oil well, and it's gushing, but that well is draining very fast if you don't hang on to that money. First thing they do, a salesman, they'll go out and buy a new car. A business owner has a good health storm. First thing he does, he goes and buys a big house or another boat or something like that. And then you look up and they don't realize this is not lasting forever. You got to set it back and you got to hold on to it. And if you don't, you'll be done. And the failure rate in our business is probably 1 to 2 years in roofing companies. And that's why we got so much egg on our face, because so many of them go out of business. And it's gotten tougher. I don't know that I'd recommend somebody get into it today. Now, the big hurricane, and a guy had 5 or 6 good sales guys that were hard workers, because you can learn it quick. And now with the technology, you don't have to know how to measure a roof. You don't have to really put an estimate together. You just got to get detail and somebody else put the estimate together, and you just got to be a closer. And if a guy does it and he got good work ethics, he can still make a lot of money. But then he's got to take care of the warranty, got to take care of the liability, so he's got to know what he's doing. Somebody does. I could teach it, but it's so much stuff's in my head I can't write it all down.
You know, when I'm counseling people, and they start making some pretty serious money, I always say, number 1, get out of debt. Yeah. Number 2, get you a nice nest egg put back. And after you're out of debt and got you a nice nest egg put back, now if you want to go buy a car or a new house or something, okay.
That's right.
But do those first 2 things first, and a lot of people don't do that. They just run out and finance a car, finance a house, finance whatever. They have no money put back, and then if things dip, now all of a sudden you're in trouble. So I always tell people, do it in that order. You know, get out of debt, get a nest egg put back, and then sure, reward yourself for some success, but do that third.
Definitely. All right, let's jump into Innovator Bruce.
Toaster Buddies?
With Toaster Buddies, which I'll say is a phenomenal product.
It's
we should have brought one.
I know. We could have done a demonstration on our nice new table.
Bruce gave me one. I think I got one in the house. Why don't you tell people kind of what it is first?
Well, let the man
let
himself.
the innovator do it. Okay, go ahead, Bruce.
Well, it's a basket. Okay, everybody or anybody has children, or even big children, parents, mothers, grandmothers, that eat Pop-Tarts, toaster strudels, waffles, Eggos, bagels that they had to put in a toaster. 9 times out of 10, you go to get that product out, and some toasters are pretty good about getting it and putting it up high enough you can get it, but you usually got to put your fingers in there and take it out of the toaster. Well, what you're going to get is toasty fingers or burnt fingers. A guy that worked for me was out in Scottsdale, Arizona in 2010, and we were sitting there in our office, and he says, Bruce, I got a thought. And I said, and he started talking about, we need to come up with something to put in a toaster, because every time I go get it, he was actually the guy that come up with the process and thought. Then we got together and started figuring out how to make this thing. So we made this basket that you put the product in there, you drop the toaster, it's done, you pick it up, you dump it to plate. No more toasty fingers, no more messes, no cross-contamination with the crumbs and the bacteria and stuff. And but the thing about it with me and that product is I'm not used to a 1995 product. I'm used to $20,000, $30,000 roof jobs, so it's a little different world. It's easy to come up with the ideal, but it's the tip of the iceberg to get it to market. And so that's where I am right now with it. It's like I say, it is a phenomenal product. Everybody that has it loves it. It's just getting enough people to get it in front of them.
So for you guys, it's a basket. It's that will fit inside the little toaster slot, and it's got a handle on it.
A rubber handle.
Yeah, and we've used it. Bruce gave me one, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He gave me one, and it's amazing. But like you said, how do you market it? Because at $19.95, you got to sell a bunch of them rascals to be a lot of money.
Yep, it's tough, and I'm not used to that. I mean, you got to put, like, if you put $1 million in, you think, if I put $1 million in roofing, I made a bunch of money. But I put $1 million in that, I just don't understand that model.
No, it's hit or miss.
We got close to getting the Shark Tank. We got to the finals, and my wife and her sister's a twin. We did a little deal like this, but we were really amateurs. And it wasn't. And Dale Hansen, a good friend of mine, he said, Bruce, it's got to be entertaining because they don't care about you getting a deal. It's got to be entertainment for TV. Well, we weren't very entertaining. And it was fun. But so we had it on QVC, but then I got bored with it because I just wasn't getting any legs moving. And then a big hurricane hit, a big hailstorm hit, and I'd put it on the back shelf. So I'm getting ready to relaunch it and get it back out to market.
I want to do your product video for you.
I'll let you.
We can get multiple camera angles.
Well, you got plenty of those.
And we got lights.
I know it. I need my sunglasses.
You do. For you guys, the whole set has been redone here literally in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We have the most up-to-date, high-tech lights you have ever seen. We literally have 4 cameras pointing at us right now. We've got soundboards to keep the sound from bouncing around. I mean, it's pretty amazing. We've changed out. This is our 4th edition, Bruce, on the furniture. We just keep rocking and rolling, and thanks to Jordan, I mean, we're looking professional anyway.
You look
telling
good.
You.
Got good backdrop, got some nice memorabilia, and I mean, the furniture looks sort of like Archie Bunker or something. I mean, but it probably photographs good.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in my house probably, but it works out here. I mean, I like it.
And now we got the best smile in Dallas.
I mean,
That's right. There we go. See?
You needed more of that in the commercial the other day.
I didn't. I know Jimmy Dale told me, Bruce, you got to smile. You know, he's my mentor as far as trying to do TV commercials for a service company. So next one will be better.
I'm going to have you send me the commercial, and I'll put it at the end of the podcast.
Okay, we'll do that. And I'll send you a toaster buddy as well. You can throw that in there a little bit.
Definitely.
No, we will. I want to ask you, okay, if somebody's watching our podcast, I say if somebody, we know people are watching, but if somebody's watching that wants to start a roofing company, Bruce, give them a couple of pieces of advice.
Find you 5 good salesmen, number 1. Depending on how fast, well, you do have to go fast if you're going to do a hailstorm or a catastrophic event like a hurricane. You need to know your product. I would not recommend somebody just going in, it has not ever been in the business. So they got a mentor that can walk them right through it, because if they do, they'll get ate up. And the process is so lengthy today. It'd be hard for me to take, because I've talked to Jordan about it. And it sounds good. It sounds easy. It is, if you have what I know. But there's so much stuff that you just got to have naturally to do so. But you got to have 5 good salesmen that are honest, and honest is the key. Then you need probably $200,000 to get started, and then you get them out and you need a credit line with a supplier. And but there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle, guys. It'd be hard to give any kind of just advice how to do it.
No, I understand that. So what I'm hearing is it'd probably be a good idea to go work for somebody for a couple of years, learn the ropes a little bit, and then branch off.
And that's what the good ones have done. That's why there's 25,000 of them out there today. That's what they did. We'd hire a good guy, young guy, had a lot of energy, but he was great. Well, the investment's not that big to do it, and the reward is great if you learn it and you know what you're doing. So yeah, that's exactly right. Go work for somebody. You don't have to work for 6 months really, and then you can get it. But you got to have 5 good salesmen. Start out with it. Have good 10 because the Pareto rule. You got 80% people or 20% of people sell 80% of the business. Promise you that is the rule to this day in our business for sure.
That's the life rule, Bruce. Yeah. I don't care what business you're in. It really is.
I believe that.
I used to think, that's baloney. No, as I've gotten older, it doesn't matter what business I've been in. That rule applies.
Yep. That's weird how that's stood the test of time.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more then. If somebody says, I'm interested in getting in the pawn shop business, what would you tell them?
That's that. If you want to be a mom and pop type organization, but you run it and a couple employees, you can make a good living. But again, it's regulation. It's regulated by the Consumer Credit, the Banking Commission, and unfortunately for the business, it's so regulated that in Dallas County, if you can't put one within 2 miles of another one, and then if you do, they can protest you, and you're not going to get in. You have to go to a county under 200,000, but it is good business. But you still, because today, the ideal situation, you get a couple $100,000 out, you're getting average 180% APR, and you got a retail side on it, you got the interest side on the deal, and then you got the scrap part of it. But again, you got to work. There's no free lunch. I haven't found. Let me tell you, I've tried to get out of the roofing business for 45 years. I did development. It was fun, but that's really risky. Got through it, but it was a lot of money for a high risk, low reward, in my opinion. We just got spoiled with instant gratification. A hailstorm hit today, we're cash flowing in 30 days, and it's just, but you're working hard. But something that's, it's happened in that business is the insurance regulations. They've changed. The policies have changed. That's why I say when I talk about getting in the roofing again today, it'd be tough because there's so many changes happening so fast, and what you thought was last year is not today. And if you're not on top of it, you're out of business before you start.
Right. So that's back to that. Go work for somebody for a while and get the experience. Is it still possible? I know that I've met people that they got a pawn shop going, then they got another one going, then they got 3 or 4 little pawn shops going, and then one of the big chains come in and bought them. Is that still possible to do in today's world?
If you can get 4 or 5 locations, which is the hard thing to do,
right.
Absolutely. It's not as hot as it was. Like every business today, they go through cycles of people gobbling up businesses. I think it's not as much today as it used to be because they already got gobbled up.
Right.
But if you could get 4 or 5 of them, and hold on to a couple of years, you could.
Kind of building off we're filming this on Friday that the episode dropped today with Alex. What, from a customer service standpoint, is the roofing business like? Obviously, I wouldn't think it's really, you got to put a lot of focus in there, but there's definitely got to be a customer service side of it when things aren't going correct.
Oh, yeah. You got to, if you have an issue, you have a leak,
if a roofer steals a neighbor's plant.
Depends on what kind of plant it is.
I remember something about that story.
Tell the story.
You want me to really tell the story?
Tell the story, but without, you can say it's that type of plant. Don't name the plant.
Okay. Back in '84 in Denver, Colorado, we had a homeowner give us a call and says, "Hey, you guys stole my wife's plants." I go, Why would they steal your wife's plants? I don't know. They did, though. Said, what's your address? We didn't roof your house. We were roofing the house next door. And he goes, yeah, I know. They seen it over the fence. They stole it. I said, what kind of plant? He hauled around, and it was something that, maybe, I don't know. But I go, why don't you call the police and file this report? Because this is 84. And I said, we'll address it. That's probably the only bad customer service.
That plant wasn't legal there at the time.
It was not a legal
just
plant.
Call the cops.
No, that's exactly
and
right.
we'll settle it.
I bet you didn't hear from him again, did you?
No.
I didn't.
Well,
think
customer
so.
service is very important in our industry because we're sort of the stepchildren of the service industry. And it's because there's, like I say, no licensing and stuff. And so you got to take care of customers.
Because there are bad actors out there.
There's a lot of bad actors. A lot of people get money and they steal it, especially when you have a storm. And matter of fact, last night on the news, or this morning when I woke up, they was talking about this hail that hit last night up in Sherman and then south of Dallas. And there's been several. And that's what they was talking about, people scamming people. And so you got to take care of it. And you got roofing laborers are the best there is, but sometimes things happen. And the company that stands behind to make what happens right is very important. The problem with our industry is service is good, but it doesn't come back around but maybe every 20 years. So, and that person could have, it's a long cycle where food service is every day.
Right.
You can get repeat. Ours is, that's another part of the business model is if the big hailstorm hits and if you're not in a major city, then that they're not going to need roofs for a while. So that takes a bit of the business model away. But you got to take care of customers. You have a problem, you fix it, or you charge them. There's a little humor to that.
No, I'm with you. So you put on a roof in Florida. Who do they call if they have an issue?
They call our office.
Call the office.
Yep. And we have people there in Florida to take care of everything that needs. And, we're all, and we have two offices, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and each side will take care of whatever. If it's something that's out of our norm, but most problems in our business happens within the first 6 months. So it's not normally, roofs is either you have a problem early or you don't have one.
Right.
Or either they've had somebody get on their roof and put a TV antenna or satellite dish that creates the problem.
Drill a couple of holes in the roof.
Yeah, they do something, puts the solar panels. But after, really, any problems that we have is really up front quick. Or it's damage to some gutters, damage to gutter screens, damage in a plant. And then you got to figure out how to make it right.
Yeah. Or damaging gutters, is that a common mishap in your line of work?
Well, most homeowners.
I feel like I've seen it. I've seen it somewhere before.
Most time we tell homeowners, you probably need to get new gutters because if you have a steep roof, the shingles you can't prevent the shingles from scraping and hitting the roof. If you have a metal roof that's tied to the gutters, it's nearly impossible to get the gutters off and get the metal tore off to fix the roof.
Oh,
so
okay.
So it ends up damaging the gutters, and but you hope the insurance company pays for them because if they pay for them, then there's nobody out any extra money.
That'd be nice. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be real good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can probably tell there's something going on here. Jordan had a metal roof that got hail damage, and you can figure out who repaired or replaced his roof, and it was Bruce. So
somebody made it out real good on that deal.
Yeah, so you can see where that story was going.
Well, we probably don't want to really go that far in that.
Well, I think that about sums it up for the podcast today. You have any more questions for the roofing guru?
No, we'll end with this, Bruce. Being an entrepreneur and in business for yourself, do you recommend that to the folks out there?
The roofing business?
Or just being an entrepreneur, just owning your own business.
Absolutely. I don't regret it. At times in my life I thought, dang, I wished I'd worked for somebody that didn't have these headaches. But the freedom you have owning your own business is priceless. it's getting tougher every day for, I think, these kids coming in because, first of all, they're not learning work ethics. They don't know how to work. That's the problem we're having in our industry is hiring, and I think across the country,
Across the board.
they just don't know how to put the time in. They don't, 40 hours. If you're going to own your own business, it's not a 40-hour week. It's not a 30-hour week. It's whatever it takes, and that's the thing about it. If you want to, or else go get a job working for somebody else. But if you can do it, there's nothing better than the freedom that you have running your own business.
And go over what we talked about last night on some good industries to get in if you were coming out of college, looking to start your own thing, maybe going to work for somebody else, whatever it may be.
I'd say insurance industry, insurance agency, because it's got residual benefits, and people keep buying.
The residual earners.
And that's where my business is a one time every 20 years. Anything that food, consumables, okay, or financial planner. But of course, then you're taking your first customer is going to be your friends, and if you don't do a good job on that, you're going to be in not too good.
You're going to have no money and no friends.
Money, yeah. So those two things for sure. If I had to start life over again, I don't think I'd be an attorney because that's just too brutal.
Stressful.
Yeah.
Can you read?
Can I read? Why?
Just a question.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay.
What was that about?
Just a question. Just asking.
You got a teleprompter I need to read?
We'll fire it up.
We do have a teleprompter, though. We do have one, Bruce.
What's that? I'm trying to figure out where he's coming from on
I
that one.
don't. I was wondering that same thing, but
If you were going to be an attorney, that's just you got.
Well, you got Chat GPT.
So you're good. You can be one of those
I
attorneys.
can do that. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. It's going to. That's something you got to look at. That's going to be detrimental to a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
amen.
I mean, I'm even into it. I mean, as old as I am, I think it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is crazy phenomenal. Yes.
And if you don't know about it, you better get into it because you're behind the eight ball. I don't care how old you are, young, old, and I mean young guys. I mean Jordan, I had to teach him a few things.
I've been teaching him his whole life.
Still are.
Yeah.
I teach him now because I've had to raise him the last 6 years.
Just one thing before we go, for the golfers out there, what's one piece of advice?
You can play bad golf, but you got to play fast.
That's
all
it.
I can say.
From Bruce Hollingsworth himself.
I agree with that. I play bad golf, but I do play fast.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm not a good golfer, but I do play fast. I'm not going to have anybody waiting on me.
So, well, all righty, let's close this thing up.
All right. Well, guys, it has been a pleasure having Bruce with us. As you can tell, we love Bruce. He's been a dear friend. He and Jordan are like inseparable almost. They actually went to the Dallas Stars playoff game last night. So he's a wealth of knowledge, very successful man, and it has been, my gosh, a pleasure to have him here with us and sharing that wisdom with us all.
Well, he had to twist my arm. He had to take me to the Stars game to get me to come, but here I am. I tried to bail this morning, but
didn't allow it.
He
Even
didn't
your
allow it.
daughter was saying you're not bailing. I was proud of her.
No, I love it. I love it.
So as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Comment below topics you'd like us to cover because we're always looking for new topics and want to add value to your lives and give everybody what they want. So thank you for tuning in.
Remind them one more time
about
the books, because this is the last one.
This is the last episode before a winner is announced. The 2 books. Comment free book down in the comment below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. That is how you enter to win 2 books signed.
Five sets of them, though.
5 winners and a Zoom with Presley as well. So make sure and do that. This is the last week. But yeah, another good one in the books. We thank Bruce for coming, and yeah, we will see you next week.
All right. God bless you guys.
hey,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you hanging.
Leave me hanging.
No.
Oh.
Here, I can do it this way. Here, we can just, there we go.
All righty. Thank you, guys.